And now it's time to take our regular look at the comics out now and coming soon in the pull list. It's been a while since we did a roundup of comics, so I've got a bumper crop to rattle through this week. First up, we have my comic of the week from a few weeks ago, and it's Amazing Fantasy #1 from Marvel Comics. This is written and illustrated by Kyle Andrews. In this issue, experience these heroes like never before. Red Room, Black Widow, Teenage Spider-Man, World War II Captain America, the most iconic versions of your favorite Marvel characters from across time and space, all wake up on an island of intrigue, darkness, and amazing fantasy. Are they dead? Are they dreaming? Or have they truly been transported to another fantastical realm? And is there any way for them to return home? This isn't just a love letter to your favorite Marvel eras. It's a reinvestment in the seminal characters you've always loved, plucked from their quintessential timelines and brought to you by Kyle Andrews. This is one you've been waiting for, true believers. It's one amazing fantasy for all the ages. I've enjoyed Andrew's work before, and it's exciting to see him take on a book like this with throwbacks to how comics used to be and changing art styles for each character. This is a really interesting new book that doesn't tie into any current continuity, and that means anything can and probably will happen. This is definitely a book you should put on your pull list. Next up, we have Headlopper #16 from Image Comics. This is written and illustrated by Andrew McLean with colours by Jordi Belair. This is the variant cover issue I've got here. And our heroes band together and close in on locating the fabled Mulgrid Stair. But what of the fate of Arak Pluth, its struggling people, and the tyrant that rules them? All this and more as the story arc concludes with an explosive finish. I really like this book. It doesn't get enough love. The quarterly schedule probably means people forget about it for a while, but the last 16 issues, McLean and Belair have delivered a vibrant and engaging story that keeps getting better. I love how fluid McLean's art is, and it works so well for the sword and sorcery world of Headlopper. And Belair continues to complement the art with a colour palette that just pops. Highly recommended. Then we have S.W.O.R.D #7 from Marvel Comics, written by Al Ewing with art by Stefano Caselli. In this issue, it's the morning after the night before. The Hellfire Gala is over, but not all guests have gone home. Victor Von Doom is staying for dinner. He's chatting to an old friend in a very new setting about thrones, empires, magic, mysterium, and the last annihilation. And here he is again, Al doing what Al does best with big, bold, and exciting stories. This book follows on the last annihilation story that began over in Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's nice to see S.W.O.R.D stretching its wings outside of the events affecting Krakoa and the rest of the mutants. With Al soon to finish his run on the equally excellent The Immortal Hulk, it's nice to know he's still going to have somewhere to continue shaking up the Marvel Universe. Next from Valiant, we have Shadowman #4. This is written by Cullen Bunn with art by John Davis Hunt. Masters of Horror Cullen Bunn and John Davis Hunt bring Shadowman's descent into the darkness of London. What's your darkest secret worth? Danger is a drug, and it's deep in the veins of mankind. Shadowman's on a quest to find the source of his hallucinations, and Jack has less control than he once thought. The worst has happened. Darkseid has arrived. Creepy and unsettling is what you want from a horror comic, and Shadowman continues to deliver. Bunn and Davis Hunt have created a beautiful book here, and while some might find the pace a little slow in places, I think it keeps the slow burn tension and horror right where it needs to be. Then from Skybound and Image, we have Skybound X #4. This is written by Donny Cates, Robert Kirkman, Margaret Scott, and Brandon Thomas, with art by Alessandro Estron, Ryan Otley, Emilio Lopez, Kari Randolph, and Pablo Tunica. In this issue, we have the 4th chapter of Rick Grimes 2000, plus new Redneck and Excellent stories, and the first appearance of Sea Serpent's Heir. What a great celebration of Skybound this is. Rick Grimes 2000 is just fabulous, and the rotating selection of back stories has been a revelation. The first peeks at new characters to come has been very welcome, and I'm looking forward to seeing their own comics down the road with only one issue left to go. This is going to miss this book once it's finished. Next up, from IDW Publishing, we have Star Trek Year 5, #23, written by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, with art by Stephen Thompson. In this issue, a Tholian horde bearing down on Earth, a time-traveling madman out for blood, a rot festering within the highest levels of the Federation that's about to explode, and that's just where we begin. The biggest battle of the Enterprise and her crew has ever faced continues in part 2 of the amazing 3-part finale of Star Trek Year 5 from showrunners Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly and artist Stephen Thompson. Well, we only have a few issues left to go on this title, and it's time to say goodbye to artist Stephen Thompson. Thompson's art has been part of the reason why this series has been so great. His interiors of covers have perfectly captured the era of 60s Star Trek and the transition to the era of the motion picture. Kelly and Lansing have crafted one of the great Star Trek stories, and I'm grateful we've had this opportunity to explore the end of the original Enterprise's journey. We already know what's next for Kirk and his crew, and the change our majestic bird is about to undertake. And the journey there has been filled with great moments, and all the creators involved have shown an obvious love and fondness for our crew. I'm sure they'll bring it home in spectacular fashion in the closing issues, and we wish Thompson happy trails. Just remember to head for the second star on the right and straight on till morning. Next up, we have Strange Adventures number 11 from DC's Black Label. This is written by Tom King with art by Mitch Gerrards and Evan Doc Shanna. In this issue, Adam Strange may save the world, but can he save his marriage? There are things that happen in the original war with the marauding Picts that Adam never told his wife Alana, and she wants answers now. Adding fuel to the fire is the possibility that he didn't just deceive her, but entire galactic civilizations in his quest for victory, which raises the question, how much has been true in the stories he's told Earth to mobilize its greatest heroes against an invasion right here at home? This is the big one before the finale. Massive secrets are revealed as two timelines rush towards a conclusion. It feels like it's taken a long time to get to this point. This book seems to have massed less of a following than Mr. Miracle, but it's just as worthy of your attention. As we near the end of Adam Strange's journey, things are finally beginning to make sense, and we can see the truth slowly beginning to reveal itself. The artwork has been top-notch throughout the series, and I've loved the pulp adventure story, and it's been given a very modern and contemporary twist. With only one issue left to go, I hope it's not the last we see of Adam Strange. Next up, we have a previous comic of the week. It's the Dreaming Waking Hours number 12 from DC's Black Label. This is written by G. Willow Wilson with art by Nick Robles and colours by Matt Lopes. In this issue, the future of the realm of fairy lands in Heather After's hands. And Heather's not exactly known for her sound judgment. But if she doesn't use her powers wisely, she could call down the wrath of the Dream Lord himself and send her closest confidant, the escaped Nightmare Ruin, back into eternal imprisonment. Or, far, far worse. Will Ruin be unmade before ever knowing the true love he condemned himself to mortality for? Perhaps he just gets what everybody gets, a lifetime. But it's looking awfully short. The Dreaming Waking Hours continues to be entertaining read. Wilson, Robles, and Lopes have succeeded in bringing the characters of the Sandman comic back in a way that is new and exciting, but also pays homage to what came before. This book looks and reads like a dream, no pun intended, and if you're a fan of the previous Sandman comics, you really should be picking this one up. Next up from Marvel, we have issue 2 of X-Men. This is written by Jerry Duggan with art by Pepe Larraz. In this issue, always bet on X. As threats hurtle towards Earth from all sides, the fearless X-Men fight a seemingly unstoppable wave of annihilation, but even more dangerous threats lurk in the darkness, ready to strike in secret. After a great first issue, it'll be interesting to see where Duggan and Larraz take this team next. Being based right in the center of New York will certainly send a message to the likes of the Avengers and the Fantastic Four. But how will the rest of the world react? Will humanity ever really accept mutants as heroes? Then we have the 5th and final issue of Skybound X from Skybound and Image. This is written by Robert Kirkman, Sean Mankiewicz, and Kyle Starks, with art by Jason Howard, Ryan Otley, Chris Schweizer, and Nico Alter. This cover is by David Finch. In this issue, Rick Grimes 2000 concludes, plus new The 6 Sidekicks of Trigger Keaton and Gasolina stories. Also, there's something completely new from Robert Kirkman and Jason Howard, Secrets. Wow, that was quick. Here we are at the 5th and final issue of this celebration of all things Skybound. I've enjoyed the anthology format and will certainly be keeping an eye out for the new characters who have debuted within these pages. Rick Grimes 2000 has been a blast, and I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see more publishers do anthology titles, and I hope this has been a huge success for Image and Skybound, and it won't be 10 years before we see something similar. Next up from Marvel Comics, we have the 5th and final issue also of Ultraman, The Trials of Ultraman. This is written by Matt Groom and Kyle Higgins, with art by Francesco Manna, and this cover, of course, is by Arthur Adams. In this issue, it's man-made kaiju versus real dead kaiju versus Ultraman on a shifting battlefield of ice and fire with thousands of lives at stake. When the smoke clears, will Ultraman be left standing? And if not, will it be because of the kaiju battle or an unexpected betrayal of a trusted friend? I've enjoyed this second series of Ultraman from Marvel a bit more than the first. It zipped along quite nicely and has filled out the world of Ultraman and the SP. It looks like the character will return for a third series in 2022 with the Mystery of the Ultra 7. And, I'm kind of hoping in the meantime we might get a Jet Jaguar comic. Bringing us smack bang up to date is my current comic of the week. It's Batman 89, number 1 from DC Comics. This is written by Sam Hamm with art by Joe Quinones and is colored by Jordan Gibson and Leonard Ito. In this issue, step back into the Gotham of Tim Burton's seminal classic Batman movies. Batman 89 brings in screenwriter Sam Hamm and artist Joe Quinones to pull on a number of threads left dangling by the prolific director. Gotham has become torn in two as citizens dressed as Batman and the Joker duke it out in the streets as D.A. Harvey Dent tries to keep the city together. He targets the one problem tearing it apart, Batman, and he'll get Bruce Wayne's help in taking down the Dark Knight. I was super excited to read when this book was announced. Batman 89 is one of the best representations of the Dark Knight on the big screen, and it was a shame we didn't get to explore that world more on the big screen. This comic promises to be a continuation of some of the threads sown in the first movie, and with Sam Hamm on board as writer, this is the genuine article. Joe Quinones is the perfect artist for this series, as his work conjures up the classic superhero film, and if you're a fan of the Tim Burton classic, then you should definitely pick this up. And finally, for this roundup, we have Fight Girls number 2 from AWA and Upshot. This is written and illustrated by Frank Cho with colors by Sabine Rich. In this issue, 10 hard as nails women's face off in an ancient contest of champions where the winner truly takes on the title Queen of the Galaxy. To win the challenge, each contestant must survive the hazards of the planet's harsh landscape, the ferocious predators on and below its surface, and their fellow contestants. This edition of the contest has a twist. One of the contestants is an infiltrator who has her eye on something bigger than the prize. Who is she, and what does she really want? You know what you're getting with a Frank Cho comic, and this series delivers. The first issue was huge fun, and as expected, it looks amazing. There's more to this book than the bombshell art, and you really should check it out. And that's it for our roundup of comics in the pull list. As always, you can pick them up from town from the wonderful Worlds Apart Birmingham. And if you want to find out other comics that might be worth picking up, you can also check out our On the Radar feature, which appears on our Twitter and website every Wednesday. But until next time, don't forget, comics are for everyone.